Yeah. Welcome to Fist Deep. Coming to you live and direct with your hosts, Jake Young and Terry Shepard. Our guest today, the incomparable Kristin Carnes.
I am so excited about this, dude. I am super pumped about this. Kristin is I just can't believe we got her as a guest. It's just,
Right?
to me, it's kind of crazy. But, I mean, this is our third episode, and already I feel like we are breaking new ground. I'm just super pumped about this.
I feel like I've been doing this episode. This is only the third.
This is only the third, believe it or not. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Fist deep, everyone. What's going on? I'm Jake. This is Terry. What's up, my man?
Hey, sir.
How'd your week go? Anything good?
So far, so good. Yeah, just
Yeah.
2 days in. Been a fun couple days this week.
Right on.
Enjoying today a Voodoo Ranger IPA.
Voodoo Ranger, very nice. Is that the recommended IPA of the show for today?
It is, yeah. That's the recommended IPA for this week's episode of Fist Deep.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of walking around with John Joe, so he's been excited to get out of the house. We've been throwing some toys and stuff in the back and trying to get him squared away, so we got some room to stretch out and play. He'll be turning 2 here soon, so trying to trick out the backyard for him.
Yeah.
Man.
Springing.
Sorry?
Spring is sprunging.
Spring is definitely sprunging.
Yeah.
And speaking of spring, well, first of all, let's talk about the show. We're going to cover a little bit of news. We got a little segment we're going to call Hot Topics. It'll just hit the news for the last week. There's some stuff that's happened that we want to make sure we get. Again, we've got Kristin Carnes. She's she's a comedian, super talented, a really interesting past, professional past, and she'll be the guest. And she's also going to do Five in the Fist.
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here?
I'm here to witness it, those 5 minutes.
Well, fair enough. Well, why don't we just skip right into it? We'll get invite off the screen so that people aren't seeing that. And here's a little bit of Kristin before we bring her up.
We did a show a while back, and as I was walking up, this drunk guy said to his friend, "Hey, bro, what's your mom doing out on a school night?" So when I got to the mic, I looked at them and I said, "I know I look like your mother, but I'm not.
It's 5 minutes.
Because I love you." I told that story at a Mother's Day show, but I used the original punchline, which was, "I'm not your mother because I'm pro-choice."
The incomparable Kristin Carnes, everyone. What's going on?
Hey. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Thank you.
I am so excited. I've been talking about this ever since I heard about you. I've got my first question, obviously. What was it like duetting with Kenny Rogers in the 1980s hit Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer?
You know, he's as suave as he was hot before the plastic surgery, wasn't he? He was a smooth talker. What can I say?
Oh, man. And then of course, Betty Davis Eyes, one of the all-time greats.
Oh, yeah.
What made you move over from that to comedy?
I always wanted to do comedy. Like, in my 20s, I remember saying to a boyfriend I wanted to do stand-up, and I swear to God this is true. He looked at me and went, "Ooh, I've heard funnier."
Oh, no.
He didn't get lucky that night, so that's what he gets. But I just was always interested and never got around to it because, as you said, I've kind of worked all over the place, lived all over the place, never really stayed in one place long enough to start.
Right. And not only do you look remarkable for having put out pop music in the early 80s with Kenny Rogers, you don't look anything like you did in the music video for Betty Davis Eyes.
I think you're thinking of Kim Carnes. We have Kristin Carnes.
Kristin Carnes, everyone. Waukegan Comedy Jam, Kristin Carnes.
There you
Even
go.
better.
Yeah,
Kim Carnes hasn't done anything for 40 years. You only had 1 year off of the Waukegan Comedy Jam. She is way irrelevant. Kristin Carnes, everyone. Let's hear it again.
There you go. So, so going back to the comedy, I wanted to do it in my 20s, and I moved around and did all different things. And then when my husband and I landed in Boston, they have a huge comedy scene.
Yes, very big.
There was a place called Improv Boston, and they gave classes, and I started with improv comedy, which stand-ups make fun of constantly. Because it's, going bananas, cheesy stuff like that. But it's a blast. I did 3 classes with that and shows with that. And I took my husband to a show of like new people, and he said, never again. And so I took some time off, and then I went back for a stand-up class there. And then I started, and then I kind of stopped. And it was like,
when about was this? Like, what year are we talking about here?
2015, 16, somewhere around there.
Okay.
15, yeah, somewhere around there.
Now, everything preceding that was
material,
comedy free material.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, oh my gosh, you have such an interesting work history, because I had to stalk you a little bit for this, right?
Cool.
So I wanted to make sure that you felt special. I'd never met you before, so I wanted to make sure you knew I did the research. You've worked at places like MIT, Tufts. You've worked in Zurich. You worked in Guatemala, a place of a bird or something. You worked at Hogwarts. Illinois apparently has Hogwarts as a traffic manager?
Traffic manager.
Now, I'm assuming that's like for Quidditch, or is that the brooms? How does that work?
Well, everyone's got to drink milk, so we were the dairy suppliers for the set and the actors and the people.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And I have no idea what you're talking about, because I've never read a single Harry Potter book or seen a movie.
Is that true?
I'm that old. Terry, are you with me on that?
I'm with you. I've never seen Harry Potter. I've never read a book.
Yeah.
My kids have, and I know Slytherin, and only through my kids, but yeah.
Is this true?
Yes, that's true.
Oh my, wait. Yeah. All right.
But
I didn't even know there were people like you out there. This is bizarre.
Maybe, like, if there's another lockdown, I might decide to take up a whole weekend of Harry Potter. I've also never seen Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you read the books?
No. I can't read.
Kristin?
No, I have seen Lord of the Rings. I've seen them all, but it's a lot of talking and it's a lot of yearning. There's a lot of sexual tension in that between Sam and Frodo, and they never consummate. So it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, it's a little. I'm sure there's fan fiction out there that covers the majority of this, but you're right. If you want to see it real time, you're definitely not going to get it there.
I'm sure.
Oh man, that's why they have those hairy feet.
Yeah, there you go.
Isn't that what it is?
I think that's pretty cool. The improv. So you started with improv and then went to stand up, right?
Yeah, and I had a lot of fun with improv. The only problem with improv is you don't control what happens on stage. Like, you have to react, you have to build upon what other people do. And if you get some tool out there who wants to make it all about him or her,
right,
or takes it in a totally bizarre direction, you got to go with it, and you can't. I think it's more difficult in a way.
I agree. I did the same thing. I had written comedy and wanted to get into writing screenplays, and I thought, I'll take an improv class. Maybe that'll help me expand. And I had a lot of fun with it, but definitely I find it more difficult than stand up.
Yeah.
But do you find it in general less funny than stand up?
You know what? When it's really good, I find it just as funny. I saw Rachel Dratch and Horatio Sanz and a couple people from the Upright Citizens Brigade. They were in Boston doing a show. They brought a girl up on the stage, asked her a bunch of questions, and they just riffed on it for an hour. It was unbelievable.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
But, then I can watch, Jim Gaffigan and laugh the whole time. So it's just a different kind of dynamic, I guess.
Sure. Now, to be honest, or for the sake of clarity, I guess, I took some improv classes here in town as well a little while. So if there's one thing I can appreciate is exactly how corny improv is as an art. I felt it was kind of corny. I prefer stand-up, but holy smokes, for the sake of one, learning how to stay light on your feet, which especially if you're going to be in comedy is going to be pretty important to be able to stay light on your toes as you're out there. Super important for that. And also seeing other people's perspective on comedy really kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of different angles to what may be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's so much creativity in it. And it also helps you in conversation, I think, because like just this even, I mean, I think it's easier after doing some improv because you do have to react and think on your feet, and it's helpful in stand-up too.
Absolutely. Terry, you did improv as well, didn't you? You did what's the other one? Comedy sports here in town?
Yeah, I did comedy sports, and I got my son into it first when he was in high school, and he took a couple, like as a summer camp.
Right.
And so I would go out there and kind of watch them do their thing. And I thought, this is a lot of fun. So I signed up for it as well. And I met actors out there. I met John, a couple of people that we've done acting, we've brought on as in our films.
Sure.
That were out there just trying to hone their craft and expand their horizons.
Okay. So Kristin, you do all of this improv and then you decide to take the grand leap over into doing open mics. How did that transition for you?
Yeah, so I took another class at Improv Boston, but on intro to stand-up.
Right.
And then I started slowly but surely going to open mics. Open mics in Boston are scary as hell because people in Boston are really, it's not like going to an open mic in Indianapolis.
Right.
Completely different experience. So I started doing that. And then I took a second stand-up class with a woman who was on Last Comic Standing.
Okay.
And she was our teacher and she was wonderful. And then with another student in class, we started running our own monthly show in Cambridge, right by MIT.
Okay.
And then I would do more open mics and shows, and I did some festivals and things like that. So slowly but surely I started getting going, and then the pandemic hit.
So just for the three people watching that may not know, why don't you tell us the difference between what a Boston comedy club and the Boston comedy scene is like, and how just raw and nasty it can be versus the kind of demure Indianapolis scene?
So, okay, I'll give you an example. I did an open mic in Boston, and I knew a guy from my class. I went up and talked to him, told him how everyone loved his set at their class show, and he's like, oh, okay, and then he walks away. I knew one other guy who'd been in the scene a long time, said hi to him. Nobody talked to me before my set. I got up. I didn't do well. And I sat down, and the guy who was kind of a veteran came over to me right away and said, if you're going to do a joke about something everyone else has got done, you have to make sure it's funny.
Oh.
And I'm like, duh. I didn't want to say to him, I knew he was right, but it's like, that was kind of a shitty thing to say. Like, that was obvious. And then he just got up and left. But then the first mic I did in Indianapolis, Ray Hensley was running it, and we went in the room and we all talked, and he encouraged everybody to stay to the end, to be supportive and be positive and support each other. And then we kumbaya'd at the end and went out and had an open mic. And people were nice to me. They were complimentary. They were friendly. It was totally bizarre to me. I was shocked.
I can't imagine. So I think if I started in that setting, I don't know if I would have continued. Because I was welcomed. Like, Ray is such a sweet guy. At any mic that I've done in Indianapolis, the first few times I've done it, people have been really encouraging before and after, and they've been sociable. Had I been in an environment, because it's nerve-wracking as it is to get up there and perform. If I had started out in that kind of setting, I don't know that I'd continue to get up there and be abused like that.
Now, do you think that a part of that, one, Boston obviously has an established long history. We have Mike Epps.
Yeah.
Boston has a long history of amazing comedians. So do you think there's a little bit of that guarding the old school ways? So those niceties, Indianapolis has to build a comedy scene, which means you have to be nice to get people to show up, which means maybe you get some hacky people that show up, that Boston sort of maybe kicks those people to the curb early on by treating them like assholes.
After living in Boston for 8 years, it's Boston. It's definitely, I mean, we have never had so many people just, the big screw you.
Wow.
It's just that's one of the reasons why we left, because my husband just couldn't stand the general lack of politeness and courtesy and friendliness.
I was in Boston once a long time ago for a training for infrared cameras, whatever, it's not important. One of the things that I noticed there, aside from the fact that seafood was amazing, when people went through stop signs, 6 people went through a stop sign. Like one person led the charge of a bunch of other people going through stop signs. And it was like that everywhere. Absolute disregard for any type of rules of the road. It was like everything was a yield sign.
Well, they do have a thing there where if it's a red light and you don't have a turn signal, when the light turns green, if the first car is turning left, they get to go and you let them go. That's their thing. And I have beeped at people for that, and I've been flipped off for that because of that. And they do it constantly. And my husband had a colleague who moved to California after growing up in Boston, and within the first week she got in an accident because she did that because she was taught that's what you do. She got TV. Like, nobody else does this except for you Bostonians.
They let her out into civilization and she didn't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So Boston, in a lot of ways, is like that island off the coast of India. If you go into it, you may just be shot up with spears. It's best to just leave that little part of time forgotten and on its own.
Yeah.
I didn't like my time there. I thought everybody was there. I was there on St. Patrick's Day, listening to Shipping Up to Boston by Drop Dead Murphys. Dropkick Murphys. Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody's ringtone was that. It was when it was brand new. Everybody had it on. It was played 1,000 times at the bar. Yeah.
They do it every year.
Yeah, man. We hung out with some girls and they made me pancakes. It was strange. So.
Oh. Your wife's listening to this.
That's all right. I bet. So they did. They made me pancakes. So, so you're out in Boston. You're getting in the scene. You're having to really kind of get beat up a little bit, I'm assuming, from what you're saying out there. So, and then you decide to stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, I got enough shows. I got booked for enough shows that I was happy and it was moving along. I got into this, the North Carolina Comedy Festival. It was their first year doing it. I got into that, so that kind of like bolstered me. And I got to do, some good shows up in Maine,
right,
and Connecticut and stuff like that, that there was enough positive that the negative didn't totally ruin it for me. But I feel much better being here, and I think people enjoy my comedy a little bit more here. I think out there, people are trying to be much more edgy, let's say, or what they would consider edgy, let's say that.
That blue and white flowered blouse you were wearing with the blue jeans was pretty edgy, though, in the video that I saw.
Real edgy, yeah, okay.
It was super edgy. It would have been really edgy in Wanamaker.
Mm-hmm.
Small town on the southeast side of Indianapolis. Okay, so eventually you guys pack up, leave MIT. You said your husband was a professor out there.
Yep.
You guys pick up, moved to Indiana, West Lafayette.
Yep.
And he takes up residency there, heading up there, whatever department, and you are now local to us.
Boiler up.
Yeah.
Boiler up. We like it.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. Purdue's a nice place. I work there part-time, but I just can't. I'm from Illinois. My husband went to Illinois. So we're Illini fans.
Right.
We don't hate Purdue. It's not like Michigan. Like he almost got recruited for a job at Michigan years ago, and he said, hell no. He's like, I will live on freezing Michigan, let alone there. So yeah, so I like Purdue. It's just I'm never gonna be rah-rah.
Right. Well, you can't.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
a certain Big Ten allegiance that pulls you away.
Yeah.
Understood. I'm an IU guy, so I totally get it. Purdue's
Yeah.
terrible. Horrible.
Well, they're terrible to you guys at football games.
IU
IU
hasn't won.
sucks,
IU
fans.
sucks. All right, so we're going to move over real quick. We've kind of developed this new thing. We're just going to talk about the news a little bit, and we want you to riff on it with us a little bit. It's not all fun. I'm so sorry, guys, but this is what we're calling Hot Topics.
Hot topics.
Hot Topics. We're trying not to steal
Isn't
Jim
it a store
Gaffigan's
for
stuff.
girls?
What's that?
Isn't that a store for young girls?
Hot topic. I think so.
I think young boys too, yeah. Didn't they have
Hey,
all of the
it's
Nirvana posters?
48-year-old men buy T-shirts there as well.
Oh, do they? That's creepy.
Yeah, they only come in mediums.
Sweet.
All right, so the first news topic of the day: America gets her groove back, baby. We're stoked about this one. We're starting to shoot up again. We're starting to have mass murders. COVID deaths are dropping off. The people out there with guns realize they need to pick up the loose change and put us straight. Feels good.
I lived 2 blocks from that King Soopers. We lived in Boulder for 5 years, and I lived 2 blocks, and that was my store to go to all the time. And I mean, shoot, it can happen anywhere, right? I mean, this kind of violence happens everywhere.
It's
I'm
crazy.
going back
American
into
way.
quarantine.
What's that, Terry?
I'm going back into quarantine.
Not me. It felt so surreal having a year without mass shootings. It's just feels good to have it back. Feels like we've got our soul back, guys. Finally, the true dysfunction of America can come back to full bloom.
Yeah, it's definitely dysfunction, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Number 2, my favorite of the week. Man, old Joe. This guy is just entirely too spry for his own good.
I do this all the time.
What's that?
Fall
Follow
up
the
the
steps.
Yeah.
But do
Oh, I
you
thought you
do
were gonna
it
take a
like
private jet.
this?
Yeah.
Here we go. Here he goes, here he goes, here he goes. Oh,
Oh no, we messed up the
he's
shot.
down, he's up, he's down. His knee hurts.
Get it together, Joe. That's what he's
At
saying.
least he doesn't have toilet paper on the bottom of his shoe.
Come on, Joe, get it together. All right, give him the salute. All right.
But then somebody, because the internet being what it is, of course, had to come up with this.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that. I think Johnny Jr. tweeted that too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. They were in politics. All politicians are liars. So they're liars to me. I'll leave it at that. But that's funny. That was a really funny clip of him beating him over the head with that golf club or golf ball.
I've fallen down the stairs a number of times, but I always manage to hold on to my wine or beer.
They're good, man. You got your priorities straight. Break your nose, but save that beer bottle.
We have Joe paused on the best spot too. That is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, poor old Joe. Remember they made a big deal about Trump coming down and looking all old and fragile and stuff? It's funny, like everybody's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's fine. Oh.
Yeah, he'll brush it off. Like my mom used to say, you'll survive.
Hey, man, rub some dirt in it, Joe.
Exactly.
Number 3, lumber prices are through the roof. Do you know this, Kristin?
Yeah, hey, wood is hard to come by. Good wood, it's hard to find, especially big pieces of good wood.
Well, this good wood is up 800%, it turns out. And it's driving up home prices.
I'm glad I'm married because I don't think I could afford to get good wood.
You don't want that mess.
No.
The only thing cracking is Sidney Powell. This is so funny. I'm going to read this really quick.
Yeah.
Given the highly charged and political context of the statements, it's clear that Powell is describing the facts on which she based the lawsuit she filed in support of President Trump. Now, this is the statement from her lawyer on why she's innocent and why this needs to be thrown out. Indeed, Plaintiffs themselves characterized the statements at issue as wild accusation and outlandish claims. They are repeatedly labeled inherently improbable and even impossible. Such characterizations of the allegedly defamatory statements further support defendants' position that reasonable people would not accept such statements as fact, but view them only as claims that await testing by the courts through the adversary process. Now, I don't have a degree in poli-sci. Kristin, that sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, I call bullshit too. Nobody's sitting at home going, I'm going to wait to see what the courts have to say about this before I make my decision. You know, they're drinking a beer saying, God damn it, he cheated. I know he did. You know, I mean, think of all those people on January 6th.
Yes.
That's what they were going by that. So
100%.
Forget her. Lock her up.
Lock her up.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not faulting people for believing what they believed. I'm not faulting people fall down. You know, I think all kinds of this shit's crazy on both. Pardon me, this stuff's crazy on both sides of the aisle. I think they're all nuts, to be quite honest with you. But my God, you came out and said all of you people that trusted me are stupid. That's paraphrasing, sure, but that's what that means.
Anything to CYA.
Right,
Holy
but
smokes.
let me. Okay, the people who trusted her, do you think the majority of them are even smart enough to understand what she said there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I try not to cast nets that wide. You end up
That
with
wide,
a lot of boots and cans.
You're right.
Now this one is near and dear to Terry's heart. Dispo dies at Dobrik death. Our best headline to date in all the years we've been doing the show.
Dude, I tell you what, I was excited for another app that just took your pictures and made them do whatever.
Right.
But this guy, he got $20 million from a hedge fund to work on this app that he's been working on. But
This guy, now who's the guy?
his name is David Dobrik.
David
and
Dobrik.
he's a YouTuber, pretty famous, I guess.
You
in
know
the
him,
YouTube
Kristin?
world.
I have no idea who this is.
Yeah,
None of it.
so, yeah, I'm probably a little bit too old to know who he is, but I have, teenage kids.
They sell his stuff at Hot Topics.
They sell his stuff at Hot Topic. And so basically a few years ago, somebody in his circle must have maybe allegedly assaulted someone. So immediately, this story came out 3 years ago, but just in the last couple of months, the company, the hedge fund found out about it and they said, we're going to cut ties. This company that they had a $200 million valuation on is now worth $150.
Oh, wow.
So basically,
And the evaluation was all based off of this guy's name.
yeah, that was
Wow.
Well, the hedge fund deserves that then. They deserve to lose all that money.
it. Exactly.
Lots of those guys do.
Yeah, that's their thing.
I wish we had a show around when they were doing that GameStop stuff. That would have been fun to cover.
Yeah.
All right. And the final one, Tina Burner, eliminated from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13. This was a tough one. She did the lip sync for her life against Utica Queen. Utica looked great. Her lip syncing was on point. And she had just won recently. I mean, it was just Tina Burner's time to go. And at the end of it, she had to sashay away. We hope there's no hard feelings. We hope to see her out All-Stars. So good luck to you,
I'm
Tina.
happy about this one. At the beginning of the season, I put $50 on her to win the whole season.
On Utica or Tina?
On Utica. Yeah.
Oh.
On DraftKings. So, yeah.
Well, that's not going to come true.
Daddy's going to
This
Red
is
Lobster.
Simone. This is Simone's season for sure. Rose might come in second, but Simone's definitely coming in top. Team Simone. Kristin, Team Simone, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your drag race history.
That dress is fire. I like
That
it.
dress is fun.
Yeah. I mean, they're amazing looking, aren't they, though?
Don't they look great?
They're more woman than I am. I mean, I'm way too I could never look like that.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Some of them really are. I mean, they look exactly like women. But a lot of times you meet them and you realize, my God, this woman is 6'8".
Yeah.
It was a 6'1" guy wearing 8-inch or whatever platforms. I can't do math.
Well, I'm just glad that it's kind of mainstream now, because I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing, and why not? If that's who you feel like you are, go for it, and doesn't hurt anybody. So why not?
Who cares?
It's cool.
I think it's awesome.
I know. I was telling you, I love RuPaul, but I don't think I've seen an episode in 13 seasons. So now I'm like behind. I'm like, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Oh, you mean you haven't seen an episode in 13 seasons, 5 All-Star seasons, 2 UK seasons, Canada season, a Thailand season, a Holland season? None of those?
Not even one.
None of the Christmas specials?
Kick.
Whatever. Okay. You can't.
Wow.
Bad taste, guys. Bad taste. Whatever. This is the news.
Hot topics.
Hot topics. Yum.
Now that was fun news. Like if the regular evening news was like this, I'd probably watch it.
I'll tell you what, if we could figure out how to make news actually fun and interesting and have it be actual news, we would do that. I think that'd be awesome.
Well, that's what the Daily Show is for.
Yeah.
Oh man,
They probably do better news than the news.
That is very true. That is very true. Their skew has gotten a little bit heavier just in recent years. But Trevor Noah, God, that guy's funny. He was such a smart call to pick that up.
Yeah, I agree.
So why don't you talk to us a little bit? You do a comedy festival called the Waukegan Comedy Jam. Mm-hmm. And this is something that's in Waukegan, Illinois.
Yep.
You've done it once prior, 2019.
Yep.
And then you had to take 2020 off, obviously, for the pandemic. And holy smokes, it looked like you had 26 performers or something. I mean, this was a true comedy jam.
It was a jam. It was a little too jam-packed. I had way too many people on, because I had people submit, and I know how it is to submit to a festival. I hated getting rejections, so it was really hard to reject people. So this time I'm picking the comedians, and we're going to have a lot fewer, and they're going to be, most of them will be really local, like Chicago, Milwaukee area.
Okay. That's right, because Waukegan is kind of northwest Chicago suburb, right?
No, it's just north. It's on the lake. It's right by the Wisconsin border. Okay. We're halfway between Milwaukee and Chicago.
Gotcha. I was talking to somebody the other day. They were in Palatine. I'm getting my places confused.
Yeah.
So Waukegan.
Yeah, we're right by the Great Lakes Naval Base.
Okay, gotcha. So right there where they do the training.
Yep.
Cool. So tell us about the jam.
So the jam, I just came up with it because I love doing comedy festivals, and moving back, I thought I could finally do something in my hometown. And I don't know if you know anything about Waukegan, but it's been dumped on a lot. Like people, it has a rough name, let's say, on the North Shore. It's not Lake Forest. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not that.
Is it like a lower economy area, or?
Yeah, it's a more of a working class. It's a multiracial town. It's it doesn't have the money. Like, you go north of Chicago, you got Evanston, and Wilmette, Winnetka,
right,
Highland Park, all that. It's rich, and then there's Waukegan, which is the county seat, but it's always been a little rough. And so I wanted to do something to bring business downtown, because they're downtown. They're trying to revamp it. It's got some cool places there now.
All right.
And I thought this would be a good way to drive traffic into downtown. And they have this beautiful old theater called the Genesee. And they get, like, Seinfeld's been there a number of times.
Really?
And Charlie Barron's from Wisconsin, I think, was there recently. And Nate Bargatze, if that's how you pronounce his name. I think he's been there. So they have, like, music and comedy and stuff. It's a pretty big theater. It's an old theater. It's gorgeous. But I thought we could do something on a smaller scale to kind of complement that.
Okay.
And it was a good way for me to get to know comics in the area too.
Now, how long did this thing last? Was it a couple days, or was it just
an afternoon? 3 nights.
Sorry?
We did 3 nights the first time. One show on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. This time we're scaling back. We're just doing one show Friday and one show Saturday. And then we might ramp it up again. If it does really well, we might extend it. I'm trying to build it, get it to be bigger than it is. More nights, more comics, things like that. But
Sure.
we'll see. We lost our momentum with the pandemic.
Yeah. I think a lot of people
Understood.
did.
Yeah.
And we were doing one-off shows too. So I was helping produce shows of other comedians in Chicago and Milwaukee. And I said, hey, we've got this theater. We can pay you some money to do a show here, because it was good for the theater as well. It was available. Why not use it?
Sure.
So I got to have some improv comedy came, and musical improv comedian from Chicago came. And we've had some different people come up, and we're going to try to keep doing that as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know a guy. Go ahead, Terry.
Oh, I was going to say my only experience with a comedy festival is I happened to luck into one. I'm hanging out in Cleveland one day or one weekend, and I met some comics, and they said, hey, we're getting ready to do a festival. I had no idea what was going on in town, and just started following them from spot to spot as they did shows. And it was it was so much fun. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a comedy festival. I get it now. And that was before I even stepped foot on a stage.
So wait a minute. So it was like a different locations within the same little area, or spread all over the city?
Yeah, it was all over the city. I mean, they were all within kind of the downtown Cleveland area, but they just had several spots that they were doing. So this time they were several comics here, this time comics here. And that was the festival. It was a whole weekend of that. So.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, big cities do that. Like Boston has the Women in Comedy Festival, and they have 2, 3, maybe even 4 venues a night going for, I think it's 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
But they pack the shows because people in Boston are so into comedy, and it's well publicized. So that would be fun to do. I'd love to be able to get it to that point.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun. I know the last time we were together, we did the festival or the 2-day fundraiser here that we did. I had so much fun with it. I'm like, oh, we need to do it again. So I'll probably be in touch. And
you had a good crowd there too. People were the crowd was into it. Yeah. It was a good venue too. It was a nice stage. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. And so I'd like to reach out to you, after we wrap up here, I'd like to reach out again and say, hey, let's raise some funds again.
Aw, look at you too. Make people smile across state lines. Aw. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We are about at the point of the show where we start talking about doing some comedy.
Oh boy.
So I don't know if you're ready or not, but we're kind of ready for you. How you feeling?
I have to admit, I'm a little rusty. The last time I did comedy, I saw Terry at the open mic in the summer, I think it was.
Okay.
So, and this is my very first virtual show.
Really?
So I guess you could say I'm a virgin. So, you know.
Always remember your first.
Yep.
It's going to be awkward, and someone might nervously toot during it. So just be prepared. I'm not saying me, I'm just saying someone,
Oh, well, yeah, shotgun. All right. Well, this is 5 in the Fist.
So feel free to, during my set, feel free to ask questions or make comments or heckle. Okay. Or, I don't know, throw your own jokes out there, Terry, if you want, whatever. Okay. Let's make it a collaborative show. But the first thing, I've been writing in my journals and stuff, and like I said, I saw Terry at an open mic. One of the things I was thinking about is just, how devastating it was last year to so many people finding out that the Ellen show was toxic. That was a bombshell. But I have to say, I know they're saying, oh, it's a toxic environment. It's like, no, they haven't been to my book club. You get a bunch of middle-aged mommies together, and they're all drunk on one glass of boxed wine there's a lot of passive aggressive hostility going around. So I go to my sister's book club all the time without ever reading the books, and I just go to drink everybody else's wine and eat their food and then just talk during the whole thing. And there's always that one person that takes it so seriously.
Right.
It's the one that has to read the questions, and they're questions that they didn't even come up with themselves. They got them in the back of the book, but they take them so seriously, and they're always trying to get people back on track. And I'm the one in the corner just talking smack. So I guess I have a thing against book clubs. What can I say? But, Ellen is a huge star, right? She is such a huge inspiration to people. I think mainly the biggest inspiration she is known for is that you can actually marry someone hotter than yourself.
Yes.
She gives us all hope. My husband's not watching. My husband's downstairs. He's not watching. I haven't told him that joke yet. A lot of times I workshop jokes with my husband just to see what his take is on it, and that one will not be told to him.
Uh-oh. I think we lost her sound.
Nope, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Oh, I hear everybody again. We're good.
Okay. The other thing, and I'm not sure if you guys will get this, but the other way she's an inspiration is that she gives white women the courage to dance alone and not in a circle with their friends. I mean, that is a white. Yes, Terry's doing it. Every wedding you go to, there's always that circle of girlfriends, and that's all they do is the woo and sing to each other and dance in a circle. The other thing I thought about is that she's not the only inspiration in this world, obviously. I like to think I have that in common with her. I like to think I'm an inspiration,
right?
Especially to my nieces and nephews, because I think we talked about it. I didn't start comedy until my 40s. Most people start in their 20s, right out of high school or right out of college. And I didn't start till my 40s. And I feel like I'm a great role model for my nieces and nephews that it's never too late in life to follow your dreams and be mediocre. And I've got no problem with that. I am going to embrace my mediocrity. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because there's just way too much emphasis in this country with being the best, trying to be having the biggest ass in the country, or being the biggest ass, or, everybody wants to be a Kardashian or is wealthy or whatever. It's I don't think being mediocre is bad. And in fact, it's worked out really well for Jennifer Aniston. I know some people don't like that joke, but I think you can all agree that no one has ever called Jennifer Aniston a doable Meryl Streep in the movie Leprechaun. Nobody saw that movie Leprechaun and went, that's the next Meryl Streep. Right there. That's it. But I guess I should be honest. I don't begrudge Jennifer Aniston, and it's not like she cares what I have to say. I mean, 1 minute. Oh, okay, 1 minute. You're giving me the light. I see. I'm really just jealous of her because her bad hairstyle got nicknamed the Rachel, and my bad hairstyle got nicknamed the Mike Ditka.
Hey! Oh yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know we had prop comedy.
Yeah, I started doing prop comedy because of that. When I did Waukegan Comedy Jam, all my high school friends came, and I had that perm in high school. And when I showed my yearbook to my husband, he said, "Oh my God, you look just like Mike Ditka." He's like, "I would not have dated you in high school. You were too skinny and you look like Mike Ditka." Yeah.
And that's
Cars.
5.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be 5. I guess because I just got talking with you guys, but it's weird doing it this way. That was
It is so weird.
that was weird.
You're right. It is so weird doing it that way. I've
Did
only
you
done
like
it.
it though?
Yeah, it's fun though.
It's fun. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so strange waiting to see if there's a reaction or not.
Somebody laughing was that? Yeah, you got a delay. No, we were both laughing.
You're great.
Well, that's all new stuff. I've never done that stuff before, except for open mics, like when I saw Terry that time.
Yeah.
Boy, it's like, yeah, I got to get back out there. I'm looking forward to getting to a mic.
That was a fun spot. I liked that it was outdoors and you could, everybody was kind of spread out, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I hit that.
Well, before we go a second further, let's hear it for Kristin Carnes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. This was fun.
Thank you.
Did you like it?
I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's a rebirth of comedy for me, so I'm excited.
Well, we want to have you back as often as you want to show up and hang around. Well, maybe not that often, but.
Yeah, I'm kind of like tequila, you have a little bit and you're like, hey, that was fun, let's do it again. But you have too much, even my name will make you sick to your stomach,
Well, we're willing to test those boundaries.
Yeah, I'd love to come back on anytime, so that would be a blast. But thank you guys for having me.
Do you have?
And are you going live now? You're going to do your stuff?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Are you guys doing more stuff now and you're kicking me out?
No. You're still here. You still get a chance to have a final thought and all kinds of stuff. You can talk about whatever you want.
God, I'm old. I already forgot what the whole plan was.
Well, if there's anything that you'd like to throw out there, we want to give you a spotlight here for a minute. If there's anything you want to talk about, anybody you want to diss, I don't care. If you want to spit a diss track at us, if you have a song, your movie debut, anything you want to say, man, take the next few minutes and the floor is yours.
Yeah, if anyone is up in north of Chicago, come on out to the Waukegan Comedy Jam, September 17th and 18th. I think it'll be a really good time. Follow me on Twitter, Kristin Carnes 2. That's where I try to do jokes on Twitter, and on Facebook. I use Facebook for promos and to find out which friends have died. So
yeah,
Facebook doesn't get any jokes. I don't do any jokes on Facebook. And Terry, are you a writer with Terry, Jake?
Yeah, I guess.
If you guys ever do videos or something, it would be a blast to do some comedic videos together.
Yeah. We've made a bunch of shorts.
I'm not photogenic, but if you pull the camera back far enough, I think it could work.
Well, you don't have to be photogenic as long as you're Jodophenic.
As long as you're what?
Jodophenic?
Jodophenic?
You can't just swap the first parts of each syllable and make it a different thing?
Sure. We'll go with it. Jodophenic. Sure.
That might be my bad.
That's what I am.
Everybody, this is Kristin Carnes. Thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Had so much fun with the 5 in the fist.
That was good, right?
Yeah. I hope you weren't disappointed that this wasn't the lady who sang Betty Davis Eyes.
Well, I mean, are we being honest?
Yes.
A little. I mean.
Kristin was way better.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I mean, Kim Carnes hadn't done anything in 40 years. Kristin has done something literally 2 years ago. That's so much better than 40 years.
And now I'm excited because I want to check out the Comedy Jam.
Yeah, that sounded really cool. I went to the website. It's cool.
But I haven't been to Chicago in a long time. I'd love to go up that way. Yeah.
I know a guy who is at the he was at the IO Theater doing improv. I think he was taking improv classes up there at I don't remember which college it is. What's the college that's up there? DePaul?
DePaul's one of them, yeah.
It might have been there. But anyway, man, so funny. So funny. And again, really interesting path. I mean, God, she's worked at some of the premier institutions of the world. MIT and Tufts are huge.
Yes, sir.
All
I have
right.
one semester at IUPUI.
What's that?
I have one semester in finance at IUPUI.
There you go. That's not too bad. I got kicked out of Vincennes.
Hey,
So I got 9 out of 31 available credit hours. Not too
right
bad.
on. Yeah,
All right. Well, I guess that's our show for the day, man.
I think that's our show.
We'll be back next Tuesday,
Yeah.
live, like always.
Of
It'll
course.
probably just be the two of us next week
Yeah,
with a 5 in the fist.
I think we have a 5 in the fist next week.
Do you know who that is?
Who I think I do. Yeah, we have a 5 in the fist next week.
Okay.
It's
Do
a
you know-
comedian.
Do you know which one?
No.
Okay, that's all right. We can figure it out through the week.
Yep.
You guys just have to wait. All right, man. Well, I guess that's it. Thanks for showing up, everybody. All 2 or 3 of you, or however many came out to see us. And we will see you all in 1 week. Peace. Hey, man, our credits got tweaked.
Who tweaked the credits?
I don't know. They're all askew. I'm going to change it live.
Tweaking the credits. We'll do it live.
Flip Monk. Special shout out to Flip Monk.
Hey,
Chet
thanks,
Patchy
Flip.
and Mango Chutney. That needed fixed. Oh, good little show, bud.
that was a fun show.
Oh, Juju Mufu. I had to put him in the thing because we couldn't cover him
Oh,
in the show.
we could have put Juju in there somewhere.
GG.
Yeah, Juju. Oh, I was thinking of Juju Smith-Schuster.
Man, that was deep.
Yeah, I think he's a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not sure.
All right.